Woo! What's going on, guys? Orm Swarm coming at you guys with another video, and today's video is a big one. It is the aftermath for that Detroit Lions game versus Chicago Bears. Bears coming to town, coming to Ford Field. An absolute beatdown in the black and blue division. A massacre in Motown. Lions win big 41-10 over the Chicago Bears. Bears falling to 3-13, fourth in the NFC North. Detroit Lions going to 500, 8-8, second in the NFC North, still alive in the playoffs. Need to win at home, on the road against Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers at Lambeau Field. The Packers are trying to get in too. Seattle's involved in this. This game just got flexed to 8:20 Sunday Night Football. And Dan Campbell actually talked about it in their little in their celebration after the football game yesterday in the locker room. Said that the game was TBD, meaning to be determined, and it was that. It was supposed to be a 1 o'clock game. Now it's flexed to 8:20. The Seattle Seahawks do play the Rams at 1 o'clock. We need Seattle to lose. We need a little bit of a miracle from the LA Rams. Will that happen? We don't know, but let's get down to this game really quick, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Now, some injuries in the Bears. Offensive guard Michael Schofield, the third, went off with an injury. He was actually carted off with a knee injury. Didn't come back. Right guard Tevin Jenkins got hurt too. He had a neck injury. Hopefully he's okay. And wide receiver Dante Pettis and DB Jalen Jones were evaluated for concussions, but I believe they did come back. Maybe one of those guys didn't come back, but they were evaluated for concussions. And even quarterback Justin Fields, he had a hip thing going on the whole game. He was getting worked on the sidelines. I think he even went into the blue tent when he got hit up top. It looked like Lions might have got away with a little bit. They kind of hit him up top. They hit him high as he was going down. It was borderline though. And they put him under the blue tent to see if he was concussed or anything, and I think he was good to go. But he didn't look right the whole game, and we'll get into that too as well. Lions didn't really have anybody. They had a couple guys inactive, though. Running back Justin Jackson had some hips and some rib injuries. He did not play. And then safety Deshaun Elliott with the shoulder problem did not play at all, too. So a couple inactives kind of came out of this a little bit, injury-free and on to Green Bay. But let's go to the stats, man. And, the stats are pretty good for the Lions. The Bears, not so much. Quarterback Justin Fields had an awful day. 7 for 21, 33% completion percentage, 75 yards, a touchdown. He did have one pick, and he was sacked 7 times. Rushing the ball, quarterback Justin Fields did have 10 carries for 132 yards at 13.2 yards per carry, but that's all he did whatsoever. The running back Khalil Herbert had 5 carries for 31 yards at 6.2 yards per carry. And then running back David Montgomery had 6 carries for 24 yards as well on 4 yards a carry. Not much going on except for Justin Fields. In the receiving, tight end Cole Kmet had 2 catches for 27 yards and a touchdown on 3 targets. And then wide receiver Equanimeous St. Brown had 2 catches for 20 yards on 3 targets. They had 7 catches only as a team, as a whole unit. Yesterday it was just a massacre. It was a bloodbath. And then defensively for the Bears, linebacker Joe Thomas had 12 tackles. Safety Jaquan Brisker, the rookie out of Penn State, had 8 tackles. Cornerback Kyler Gordon had 7 tackles. Cornerback DeAndre Houston Carson had 6 tackles. Linebacker Nick Moreau had 6 tackles. Defensive tackle Justin Jones had 6 tackles and a sack. And the defensive end, Travis Gibson, had 1 tackle and a sack as well. Not really much going on. Now with the Lions, the stats were there. Quarterback Jared Goff was 21 for 29 at 72% completion percentage, 255 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks, no fumbles, held onto the ball again, was sacked once, and Sudfeld came in later on. There was like 5 minutes to go in the game, and he was actually sacked. So Goff had a really solid game, really good game. Rushing, we ran the ball well. Running back Jamal Williams had 22 carries for 144 yards and a touchdown at 6.5 yards per carry. Running back DeAndre Swift had 11 carries for 78 yards, 1 touchdown, 7.1 yards per carry. He looked really good out there. man, he can be so frustrating at times. And we'll talk about that as well. And then wide receiver Jameson Williams, man, the rookie out of Alabama, had 1 carry for 40 yards on an end sweep, 40 yards per carry. If he would have cut that in, it looked like he might have had a touchdown, but he just looked so good running the football, just with the ball in his hands. He's electric. He's so electric, he glides. And we'll get into that too. They had 265 yards on the ground, the Detroit Lions. As a unit, they just ran the ball really well. And then receiving, wide receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown, 4 catches for 62 yards on 5 targets. Wide receiver DJ Chark had 2 catches for 56 yards, 4 targets. Wide receiver Khalif Raymond had 3 catches for 40 yards on 3 targets. He looked pretty physical out there as well, too. Running back DeAndre Swift had 4 catches for 39 yards and a touchdown on 4 targets. And then tight end Brock Wright had a nice day. 3 catches, only 13 yards, but got into the end zone twice. 2 touchdowns for Brock Wright on 4 targets. Goff hit 10 different receivers, and we'll talk about that too, man. So he had a really solid game. Defensively, take your pick, man. Linebacker Alex Anzalone had 7 tackles. D lineman Josh Pascal, the rookie out of Kentucky, had a really nice game. 4 tackles, 2 sacks. He was in there all day. Linebacker Malcolm Rodriguez, another rookie, had 4 tackles. Linebacker James Houston, the other rookie, had 3 tackles, 3 sacks, a forced fumble. He was a man possessed. Safety Ifeatu Malafanu had 4 tackles and had half a sack. Defensive end Aiden Hutchinson, the rookie out of Michigan, was all over the place too. 4 tackles, half a sack, a pick, an interception, and then a fumble recovery. Just man possessed too as well. Just a ball hound. And then defensive lineman John Kaminsky, a great pickup by Brad Holmes, 2 tackles and a sack as well. Nice. They had 7 sacks and 2 turnovers as a defense, playing really good football on this game. Now, let's talk the Lions offense versus this Bears defense. The offense played near perfect. They're not one thing you can really criticize about how they played against the Chicago Bears yesterday. Like I said with Jared Goff, 10 different receivers he was hitting. He was finding everybody. Playing great at home as he usually does, and that's what we want to see too. But he was just on point. The Goff was good. The O-line was good. The running backs were great. The wide receivers were good. The tight ends got involved. It was a near perfect offensive game plan. Jamal Williams had a career-high 144 yards. That was excellent. Swift looked good, and like I said earlier, I wanted to talk about it earlier, man. He can be so frustrating at times because he can look like an absolute superstar at times. The way he makes people miss is it's rare. It's very rare. And then he has games like this where you're almost ready to throw him in the trash bin, but he comes out like this and he looks fresh. He looks like it's game 1, week 1, running very well. Then you'll see him do it the following week. It looks like he's running in mud. But this game, he came out, he played well, he looked excellent running and catching the football. It's just so frustrating. You don't know what to do with this kid, man. You want to keep him, but are they going to keep him? But I'm glad he had a big game. It was a must-win, and he came to play. And then Jameson Williams, the rookie out of Alabama, with the ball in his hands, is something special to see. They finally, they targeted him like 3 times. He didn't get the ball. He didn't catch one ball. He still doesn't have that chemistry down with Goff. You could tell. They got to get that chemistry down. But when they did that end-around sweep, Goff, he threw it, he kind of chucked it a little bit, threw it up in the air to Amon-Ra. Amon-Ra comes around, chucks it back to Jameson Williams, and Williams comes around the edge, and he glides when he runs. He's like a deer. He's like a gazelle. His steps, he takes a step, and it's like 4 yards. It's like he has that long stride, that long speed. And it's like, and if you're not in front of him, you're not catching him. And if he would have busted a little bit inside, he probably would have scored a touchdown, but he had a big, nice 40-yard gain. He's electric with the ball in his hands. I can't wait until they get this guy down, until that chemistry is where they need it to be, because you can tell they don't have it, and it's going to come eventually. But he's so nice with the ball in his hands. Just electric. Perfect. It was just a perfect game. Tight ends getting involved too. Everybody got involved. The offense played a nearly perfect football game. Can't complain once about their offense. It was just a solid game. Put 41 points on the board. Defense helping out too as well. Now talk the Lions defense versus that Bears offense. Okay, it started off rough. First quarter was weird. Justin Fields had that long run, that 60-something yard run. He ended up having over 100 plus yards already on the ground in the first quarter. So you're thinking to yourself, you're looking at this game, you're going, oh man, it's going to be another day like this. Looks like he's going to be rushing over 200 and something yards, 300 yards. That's what it felt like. He got hit hard a couple times. Justin Fields did in that first quarter. And personally, I think he was banged up. He threw a touchdown to Cole Kmet as well, too, in that first quarter. They were up 10-7. And then after that, they didn't score a point. 0 across the board, but he looked hurt. To me, he looked hurt. And I'm surprised they kept him in the football game, Chicago Bears. Couldn't get anything going on the ground, couldn't get anything going through the air for 3 quarters after that, man. The Lions locked it down. But personally, I think Fields was hurt. I think he was playing hurt. He was on the sidelines flexing that hip flexor. He was trying to get his leg going. They were working on his leg. They put him under the tent, like I said earlier, when it looks like he took a hit up top. Didn't look right, man. I'm surprised he was in that game when they were down 4 scores. And they were still trying to run the kid. It was weird. Like, I know he's young. He's a big kid at 6'4", whatever he is, 230 pounds. But they're going to get that kid killed in Chicago. And Eberflus, however you say his last name, the head coach of the Bears, is going to get himself fired. You got to get that kid some help. Like, I'm a Lions fan. I could care less what you do there. Like, I hope you just keep not getting him help, but you have to get him help. You got to get him an O-line. You got to get him some wide receivers, man. Because if you keep running that kid, he's going to die. He's going to die on the field one day. So, I don't know, just if you're a Chicago Bears fan, I'd be very, very concerned. He had that hip thing. It looked like he had a concussion. So who knows, man? But the Bears scored 10 the first quarter, then they were blanked all the way through. It was just a great effort by the defense. The young guys were making plays. Hutchinson, James Houston, Melifonu came to play a little bit. Rodriguez, Kirby Joseph, just name it, man. They had a bunch of the young guys making plays again. Rodriguez, Pascal, Hutchinson, Kaminsky. All guys at home brought in, man. The defense showed up. Now, a lot of people were like, well, they didn't play well because Fields wasn't hurt. I think in a way that's kind of true. I think Fields looked like he was going to have a day, especially on the ground. But this is football. So this is football, man. He took a couple big hits. It looked like his cage was rattled. And the rest is history, man. We shut him down second, third, and fourth quarter, man. I love it, man. A 41-10 absolute rout for the Detroit Lions. And that was all she wrote. So it was a big game for the Lions. It was a must-win. We needed a couple teams to lose. Yesterday, Washington lost. So when Washington lost, we ended up going up to that 7th spot in the wild card. We were in the playoffs for 3 hours. We were in the playoffs for 3 hours, and then Seattle ended up beating the Jets. Jets are god-awful. But Seattle doesn't look good. Seattle doesn't look good. So they got a game this week versus the Rams. We need the Rams to win this football game. Bottom line, we need the Rams to win this football game, and we need to take care of business Sunday night at Lambeau Field in Green Bay against Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. It's set up for us perfectly. Now we're going to know what our outcome is. Now we're going to know, okay, because Seattle and the Rams play at 1 o'clock, so we don't play till 7 hours later. So we're going to know the outcome of that Seattle-LA game. If Seattle wins, we're done. Seattle wins, we're done. We're not going to the playoffs, and that's it. Seattle loses, we got to win out. And now Green Bay too. Green Bay, all they have to do is win. All they have to do is win, they're in. We have to win plus a Seattle loss. So that's what we need to get into the playoffs. It's going to be, let's just say Seattle wins that game. We're going to have to go up to Lambeau and become spoilers. We're going to have to beat the Green Bay Packers. And hey, I know nobody wants to hear it. I want to go in the playoffs too as well. 100%. I want nothing but playoffs. But say Seattle does win, we can't control that. If Seattle wins, let's go play spoilers. Let's go beat the Packers, man. Let's go see Seattle in the playoffs instead of Green Bay. I know everybody's on board with that. I don't think there's one person in a Lions with a Lions toque, Lions gear on that wants to see the Packers in the playoffs. We don't. They're playing okay. They're playing pretty good football. They just beat up on the Minnesota Vikings. I don't know what the Vikings were doing right there. I know the conspiracy theorists are out on that one too, saying that the Vikings threw that game. I didn't watch it enough. I know they just played bad football, horrible football. Couple big interceptions by Kirk Cousins, some special team mishaps, I guess. You know, Jefferson didn't do squat, I guess, for them, and he's the number one wide receiver in the NFL. Just a weird game, and I know the conspiracy theorists are out and about on that one, and I kind of don't blame them, but I don't go for that stuff. I don't fall for that stuff. We just got to concentrate on what we do. And we won our game against Chicago. Now we got to go beat Green Bay at Lambeau Field, and we got to hope the Rams take out the Seattle Seahawks, which I think they have a shot because I don't think the Seahawks are that good. They haven't played that good football. They did beat us earlier in the year, but we're not a great football team either. We're playing good football, but we're not a great football team. I think Seattle's kind of in the same kind of boat. You know, they were supposed to be garbage. Russell Wilson gone. They were supposed, you know what I mean? They got rid of Bobby Wagner. Kind of, you know, some things were going on in Seattle that, you know, they looked like they were on a rebuild. Now they're looking to squeak into the playoffs. So we got to go beat Green Bay, and we got to hope the Rams beat the Seattle Seahawks, man. Go Rams. I know no one wants to hear it, but we got to become a Ram fan for at least 4 hours on Sunday at 1 o'clock, and we go from there. But that's the game, man. We're flexed to 8:20. Sunday Night Football. Chris Collinsworth and Al Michaels, whoever does the game. You know, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a hell of a football game. Hopefully we can come on top, either make the playoffs or at least spoil Green Bay's hopes of going to the playoffs. But that's it, guys. That's the video. 41-10 rout of the Chicago Bears. The Bears, bye-bye. You know, having a bad year. They're going to have a top pick. Let's see what they do there. You better go help out that kid, though, man. But that's it. Thanks for the video, guys. I appreciate everybody. I appreciate everybody watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button in the bottom right. Don't forget to the notification. Get all my videos. Don't forget to like, comment, share this out. Big win. Even bigger game next week. Let's go. We'll talk about it during the week. Go Lions, one pride, baby. Boom.